Welcome to my channel, All for Health with Jane. Family, yesterday as I was walking through the streets of TikTok, I came across people talking about Zenani Mandela Dlamini. They find it very unfair for people to blame Zenani for the interdict that she applied for, that instructed the family not to bury Zoleka on the Mandela Estate graveyard or graveside. So they say they find it's unfair for people to blame her for doing that. The reasons they were giving, they were saying because as African, according to culture, you may find that Zenani was following culture by doing the right thing when she said Zoleka must be buried at the husband's burial site. And for me to address this, there are 4 questions that I want us to discuss on this video. The first question that we're going to discuss, I want us to look into the interdict. According to news reporters, the interdict was applied by Zenani. Zenani is the applicant of the interdict. That interdict, Zoleka must not be buried on with her granny Winnie Madikizela Mandela and her mom Zinzi Mandela, as well as her daughter. And apparently there's another baby that died belonging to Zoleka. This baby is also buried there on the Mandela site. So the second thing that I want us to look into, as we are going to discuss in this video, is divorce, Zoleka's divorce. Is it divorce or is it separation? So I want us to talk about those 2 things. The third thing is tabaya culture, in case maybe they are cultural people, the Mandelas are cultural people. We are going to talk about that grave that is left open. The grave that the Mandelas were supposed to use it to bury Zoleka. And the grave was left open and they had to leave it and bury Zoleka at the ex-husband. Let me call him ex-husband, as the reporters are saying. Ex-husband, a grave site. So that's where she was ultimately buried. And the fourth, let's talk about the 2 children by Zoleka. There are 2 children who were also buried at the Mandela site. So these are the 4 points that I want us to talk about on this video. Let's go to the interdict thing. It is said that it was reported, in fact, that Zoleka died on the 25th, that is last week, Monday. She died at the hospital and she was surrounded by family members. On the 26th, the public, this was announced to the public by one of the family members. There and there, they decided Zoleka will be buried on Friday, the 29th. Correct. And then what happened is throughout the week until on Friday, there was nothing in terms of the interdict. In fact, I don't know, maybe in the family as they were talking, did they come to a point where they disagreed in terms of burying Zoleka at the Mandelas, or burying Zoleka at the ex-husband's place? So I'm not sure, because there is nowhere in the media where we are being told that there was an agreement on that, or there was maybe disagreements when it comes to that. we don't know what happened until on Friday when they were to bury Zoleka. And this is the Friday where the list of people that Zoleka said he doesn't want to see them at, not to see because anyway, she has passed on. She doesn't want them at her funeral or maybe close to her body. That's what she said on the list, on the page that she has written. So until on Friday, when we heard about that, which included Mamkhulu Zenani Mandela Dlamini on that one. So, and we assuming as public, is it because she was in the list? Hence, she said, because I'm in the list of people you say you don't want, then you're not being buried on my mother's graveside. We just assuming as people, or maybe that's the way it happened. Or maybe Vele, they had some, squabbles before Zoleka died, hence she was in the list. So, okay. And what happened is, then the interdict comes. When people were already at the Mandela site, the interdict comes that says Mandela must not, Zoleka Mandela must not be buried with the granny. So now my concern here is, if it's tradition, like the people I had go TikTok, when they were talking about, or maybe it's tradition, Zoleka must be buried go the ex-husband's grave site. If it is tradition, and Zenani is the one who is pushing this, why is it Zenani pushing it and not the ex-husband? Zenani is the one who has applied for the interdict. Media doesn't say it's Terry Bashala, who is the ex-husband. Media says it's Zenani. And the reason, they don't give us the reason, but we just assume as a public, or the reason is because she was married to this man. And, okay, let's go to the next one, which is divorce or separation. I would agree with people barring its culture. Culturally, Zoleka must be buried at the husband's burial site because of she's still married to this man. I tried to search from all the different media reporters. Zimoja, News 24, almost Sunday Times, most of them that I have searched from, none of them are saying they separated. All of them, they are saying they divorced. According to the newspapers, these people met in 2012. They got married in 2014. They separated. They divorced. In fact, they don't say separate. They divorced in 2020. When they divorced, then it was done. Because if we understand the word divorce, then it means they are no longer married. So meaning Zoleka, if Zoleka was lucky enough to be married by another man, by now as we speak, like as we speak already, Zoleka has children with other people. So, okay, for me, that's not separation, that's divorce. Separation, it would mean they are still legally married, these two people. They just separated because of whatever problems or challenges that they are going through. But Zoleka Mandela and Terry Bashala, they divorced in 2020 after 8 years of their marriage. So they are no longer husband and wife, meaning Terry was free to move on, Zoleka was free to move on. Hence, we don't see Terry applying for this interdict. And then, okay, done katabaya divorce or separation, because according to the newspapers, it's divorce. Then number 3, if the Mandelas are cultural people, as this group called TikTok were talking about it like that, let's talk about the grave that Zoleka was supposed to be buried in that grave. That grave was left open. Culturally, kore the first for sure fela mo e dutseng teng when they dig a hole mola, the first digging, we cannot change the place. Already they need to dig that grave, make it ready for the person to be buried. That's what culture says. Then bona, they dug the hole. That grave was ready. We have seen it. They even put, the walls inside just to protect the coffin. And then after doing that, the police comes and say, you cannot bury her here. So they move her to another gravesite. That grave is left open. Culture, the culture that I know of African people, it doesn't work like that. We don't leave a grave open. Noma kanjani, they were supposed to bury Zoleka in that grave and not leave it open. Because leaving it open, culturally, Black people believe that another person will die. Kidi Bati fela, who is going to die and be buried in that grave. So we don't open 2 graves for one person. So, and then the last point, Zoleka, the 2 children of Zoleka who are buried next to their grannies. The reporters are saying those 2 children, the firstborn and the other one, they are Thierry's children. The firstborn and the next one. The firstborn, it is reported that she died in an accident. Those 2 children, according to the reporters, they belong to Thierry. Where was Zenani Mandela when these 2 children were buried next to their great-grandchildren, Winnie Madikizela Mandela? If Zoleka is married to Thierry, Mosadi libitla la mosadi ke bogadi. If that is the case, then Zoleka's children were not supposed to be buried there. The children, the worst thing, the children, they have Bashala's blood. Those ones are the ones who belong to the gravesite ya Bashala. Mara, they were buried there, Winnie Madikizela Mandela. So my question is, where was Zenani kanako eo? Because Zenani was supposed to say, no. You don't do things culturally. According to the culture, these children are not supposed to be buried here. Hence, I feel Zenani was unfair. This was not supposed to be done like this. If she meant it well, Zoleka, if she feels that it's correct, Zoleka was supposed to be buried at Bashala's gravesite. The family was supposed to discuss this before Friday and not wait for Friday. Why wait for Friday? My problem is, what is it that, I'm looking at Zoleka's children. I understand the first one now, it's almost 19, 20, the boy. This boy who is 19, 20, who is now the eldest child, was Zoleka, with another man, of course. What is this boy going to say? Is there going to be any peace between this boy and his granny, who is Zenani Mandela? Is there going to be any good relationship between these two? Zenani as Mamkulu. Did Zenani, was it difficult for Zenani to find it in her heart to forgive Zoleka for whatever that Zoleka has done? Maybe as a child, or maybe in families, we have our things as families. No family is perfect. No family is clean. We have our stories as families. So she cannot, because now, according to the public, when we look at this, it's like Zenani hated Zoleka to the grave. It wasn't supposed to be like that. And this is the way even Zoleka's children are going to interpret it. Family, I don't know. Let's talk about this. My intention was not to make this video very long. It's becoming too long. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. How do you see this? If it's culture, why all these questions that I have put, according to you, how do you interpret this culturally? Do you think it's fair now? Zenani, it's Mamkulu. She was supposed to give Zoleka a bag. She was supposed to support Zoleka. Whatever, sometimes, even if the in-laws are right in some matters, your family members, I'm telling you, they back you up. They will back you up. People fight to bury their children. They want to take them away from their husbands, even though the husbands sometimes they are right. What type of a mom, what type of mamkulu is Zenani? What type of a mom is she? What type of a granny to Zoleka's children is she? Family, correct me if I am wrong. Let's talk about this. Thank you very much for watching to the end. Please like this video. Subscribe for my channel if you haven't done so. Family, I love you so much. Thank you. Bye.